Welcome to Building the Buyer Site, episode 6. My name is Christophe Clermont and I will talk about images on the buyer side. You will find images under the image icon on the right hand side, and you easily can click on the placeholder image here, so there is something in the frame. The only thing to make this image editable to the buyer is go to the shopping cart icon again and press Content. If I'm on the buyer side, I now can select this image and I can upload a photo, which then automatically is placed into the frame. I'm able to move this thing around. On mobile I can pan, and also if I have a touchpad on my Mac or PC. And also I can use the image zoom over here. The image zoom automatically is limited to a certain zoom degree. This is depending on the DPI you set up in the template. The minimum image zoom ensures that the frame is entirely covered. So even if I zoom in and then I change the position here and then I zoom out with a slider, I see that it always covers the frame. That's a default setting for images. So let's have a look how they are set up. So first of all, in the document, on the document level here, so if you deselect the image and go to the shopping cart, you will find the minimum DPI for images. So let me just reduce this for 60 DPI in that case, and toggle to the buyer side, upload the image again. And now my zoom range is much wider. So I'm actually can go until 60 DPI and that's it. If I set this very high, upload an image, now a warning will appear that this image's quality is very poor and the print will appear very blurry. When I try to add this to the basket, a warning will appear. So it says that this image is too small. But for images, I also give the user the option to ignore that. So at least they have noticed that their image is poor. And if they still decide to print this, you can 100% be sure that they have deliberately decided to ignore the warning and continue to the basket. So if I press ignore, I now can go further to the basket. Like with text here in the shopping cart section of the frame, we also can set this image to mandatory. If I open that in the buyer side, don't change anything and press add to basket, I will actually get a warning that I cannot continue to the basket because this image is mandatory. So these are the only settings, and then don't print if not changed. It's the same like I explained with text. If the image is not changed, it will not be printed. So if you have some optional images in your documents, in your templates, which the user could assign an image but don't have to, you still need to have some kind of placeholder image there, so the user sees that there is an image, but you will never print this. So that's the case, then you simply say don't print if not changed. And if the image is not changed by the user, it will not get printed. Then we have the auto-distribute this image setting, which I explained in my photo book tutorial, which actually means whenever this is set and the user uploads more than one image, they are auto-distributed to all the remaining image placeholders in the document. Another thing about the images, you only see if you have uploaded an image. Then beside the image zoom here and changing the image, of course, there is the filter tab. So the user is able to change the brightness, the contrast here, or even make it a sepia image and reduce the saturation. So all these sliders appear. And you can control which sliders appear. So going back to the designer side and being in the on the document level here, you got the switch, brightness, hue, sepia. And if you turn the switch off, you can control exactly which filters you want to show. So let me turn off the 3, go to the buyer side, upload the image again. And in the filters tab, we only have saturation and you rotate left here. There is another one which is invert. So whenever I turn this switch on that I want to control that, I actually can also set the inversion filter on, which is by default not on. There is some exceptions for that when it comes to engraving. So I would recommend to turn this off so it will not appear. If we go back to default, which normally you should be fine, and go to the buyer side again, upload an image. There is another tab here for rotation. So sometimes images are uploaded in the wrong rotation from the camera, so user can easily rotate them by 90 degrees without rotating the frame. So I can actually choose whichever orientation is right, and so I got my little thumbnail here, and here I go. One last thing I touched in the beginning and which also influences the buyer side is the basic fill and fit setting of the image. So by default, our image is set to fill, but I also can set them to fit, which means the image content will fit. We won't see that here because the placeholder image is square, so it has the same aspect ratio like the frame. But when we go to the buyer side and we upload the same image again, it now appears in the right dimensions and the entire image fit to that frame. The fit mode is pretty much different because now you have space around the image, which you never have in the fill mode. So the fill mode is very much recommended for any kind of photos to avoid people being unlucky getting a printed product which has actually some white space in the end, which they most of the time did because they didn't saw it. So that's the reason why fill is the preferred method for photos in any way. But sometimes, for example, for logos, where people want to have the full view of the image and move them around in the frame, the fit mode can be very handy. So in cases where people should be able to use fit or fill because they might want to upload their logo to a certain even B2B portal, we added for the stickers here. So let's just add some photos to select from the stickers here and go to the buyer side, and we added a logo in here as well. So when you click on the logo, it gives you a frame which is actually set to fit. And depending if you have the advanced frame editing on, the user can change between the two modes and actually decide that. That has to do with the advanced editing mode, which is actually the buyer frame style. So standard setting is super simple. And if you have super simple, you don't have that menu stuff. But actually, if you set them to with all options, then as you see in the preview here as well, the user gets this menu. By the way, there is a pro tip. You can have it both with the show expert mode button, because then you can go to super simple, show expert mode, and whenever the user is ready to do more, they can actually toggle that. But you also can not allow all of these stuff. But then if you want people to be able to upload a logo, it's very recommended to have at least one image frame which is not set to fill. For all kind of proto products, we are totally fine with the standard setting of fill because we ensure that the image never leaves the frame. There is a third mode here in the image placement. So crop is not relevant for the buyer side, I can tell you, but the AI mode is also quite interesting because when you activate it, it currently gives you only the face AI. We for sure will add more in the future. And then you can actually focus to a group or a portrait. So when you leave that to a group and the user uploads an image to that frame, it will actually focus both of the faces here. So we got a nice auto-focused area of this photo. We can also go for a portrait here. If it's set to group, we have only one person then. It works as well. So that's about the AI. I think we covered everything. So I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.